Religion is super interesting in Armenia. So Armenia's thing is that it's the first Christian nation. That's kind of their motto, I guess. They are the first nation to declare Christianity as their official religion in 301 AD. So they've been Christian for, almost 2,000 years. Because of that, they're very loyal to their church, the Armenian Apostolic Church. It's become more of I guess less of a religious thing and more of a cultural thing. Their church is just so ingrained in their culture because it's kind of what has kept them alive for all of these years. They've received a lot of religious persecution. They're surrounded by a lot of Muslim countries, Azerbaijan, Iran, and Iraq, and Turkey. And I think exactly 100 years ago was the Armenian genocide, where the Ottoman Empire, so Turkey basically, killed, I think, like 1.5 million Armenians. As far as I know, for religious reasons. And, they've held so strong to their Christianity through all of that persecution, through the genocide, that, it's great because now they believe so strongly in Christ. But it's also difficult as missionaries, coming to them with our message, and they say, "Why are you talking to us about Christianity? We're the most Christian nation." But as far as the starting of our church in Armenia, I don't know a ton of the details about it, but I know that John Huntsman's father did a lot of, or funded a lot of humanitarian work in Armenia, helped out the country a lot financially. And from what I've heard, because of that, the country let our missionaries come. And I think the mission started, the Armenia Yerevan mission was created in 1998, as far as I remember. So it's a pretty young mission. The church is still quite young there. But it started with, a core of 15 to 20 really strong, really devoted members that they found. Some of which are still alive today. So many of them have passed away, but some of which are the leaders of the church currently. There's a man, President Bogosian. He's the first counselor in the stake presidency, and he, was basically the leader of our church there. He was the first branch president, district president, as far as I remember. He helped with the translation of the Book of Mormon. And, that's kind of how a lot of the cities in Armenia have been started. They just found like a core family who was crazy good at missionary work, really, really devoted to the gospel. And that's kind of how each branch has started in Armenia. And I guess that's kind of how it was in the start of the church, and with Joseph Smith's family and the Whitmer family. That's kind of how what's happening now in Armenia. Small families have, begun the church in each city. It's kind of interesting because there's a lot of Armenians that, because they are so devoted to their church, the Armenian Apostolic Church, they initially don't really love us. They typically, when they first see us, they think that we're Jehovah's Witnesses, because there's a lot of Jehovah's Witness missionaries in Armenia. But they also automatically love us because we're American, or just because that's what they do as Armenians. They just kind of automatically love you. They'll automatically, invite you to their house and give you all of their food, and then at the same time they'll say, "We don't like your church and we don't believe in you, but we still love you as people." That's kind of how the Armenians are. But as far as like investigators, and difficult commitments, I think that the commitments that are hard for them to keep are probably similar in other areas of the world, and they all, I mean, the difficulty to keep a commitment all kind of stems from the same thing. All stems from essentially a lack of faith in Christ, or lack of conversion, and can be solved with, with helping them receive spiritual experiences, with helping them receive revelation through prayer, by helping them pray, through studying the Book of Mormon, helping them receive revelation through that and receive a testimony in the Book of Mormon, helping them come to church and feel the Spirit there. So there are certain commitments that I think are particularly difficult for them to keep, such as the word of wisdom. They drink a lot of coffee, they smoke a lot, and parts of the law of chastity, like having a marriage license. That's a big thing in Armenia. A lot of married couples don't have a license because it's expensive. So, there are particular commitments that I think are more prevalent in Armenia, but it all kind of comes down to the same principle. I served October 2012 to October 2014. So I got to Armenia in December of 2012. At first I served in Vanadzor, and then I went to a part of the main city Yerevan called Davtashen. And then I went to Ashtarak, and then I went back to Vanadzor. And that was about a year later. And then I went to another city up north called Gyumri, and then I went to another city up north called Alaverdi.